the end of the 2021 season. And as tradition dictates, we will finish the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship at Motul Petit Le Mans. In some ways, the spiritual home of this form of motor racing. The track that was conceived and built to what it is now by the much-missed Dr. Don Paynos in his backyard of Brazelton, Georgia. And the Petit Le Mans was his vision, the small Le Mans of the race that would bring Le Mans-style ACO racing to the United States. We've got 2.5 miles of circuit that will challenge every part of the car, every part of the engineering squad, and the driver as well. Just about every single sort of corner. Slow speed at turn 7, quick downhill entry to turn 10, and then the flowing run from turn 2 at the top of the hill through to turn 5. Oh, and just for good measure, the real commitment required at the downhill at turn 12 and the uphill at turn 1. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindorf, and joining me in the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre is Jeremy Shaw. We'll get to Jeremy in a moment. An additional session here because we've got the LMP3s to go out on track as well. But first, let's check in with our VP Racing Fuel pit reporter, Shea Adam, who's on the opposite side of the track down with the cars as they're getting ready to go out. And Shea, the first thing we've got to talk about is a very important story to do with Wright Motorsport. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. It's back. It lives, and it's a new car for Wright Motorsport, the number 16 Porsche, making its way out for qualifying. This is a huge surprise. All day, the Wright Motorsport tent has been down. Drivers have been very hush-hush about what was going on behind the tent, and to be honest, it didn't sound like there was a whole lot of action going on back there. So Wright Motorsport, surprising us all, they just won the Michelin Pilot Challenge Team Championship, and they are back to contend for the Michelin Endurance Cup during the Motul Petit Le Mans. Their drivers for this qualifying session, up first will be Trent Hinman, fresh out of an Aston Martin, and then it's going to be all up to Jan Heylen, the newly elected champion.
This all has come about, Shea. Stay with us. I'll come back to you in a second for the other drivers. This has all come about, Jeremy, come about because of a practice incident yesterday. John Ferrano in the Tower Motorsport number 8 prototype with a bit of a hip and shoulder on Jan Heylen, who was minding his own business coming down under the Fox Factory Bridge. Heavy contact, particularly with the front end of that car, and that car is no more. Shea says it lives. It's not the same car. We're led to believe that has been brought in. The requisite amount of parts have been passed over between the two chassis. That's a huge amount of work that Wright have got through since the early part of the week.
It certainly is remarkable. I'd like to know which chassis that is as well once we get down to that. But a remarkable effort by that team. Yeah, the incident it was on Wednesday, actually, wasn't it? I think. Yeah, it was on the Wednesday first practice session of the weekend, I believe. Everything's a blur.
It was second. Thanks, Shea. I think it was Thursday because we were actually covering it when it happened.
Thursday?
Yeah, and we didn't do anything on Wednesday, so it must have been Thursday.
It must be right. Okay,
FP2,
fine. Well, yeah,
I think.
Good point. Good point. It was Thursday. It was Thursday morning, wasn't it? So, that's a remarkable effort to turn that car around in a little over 24 hours to get another car. I don't know whether they had another car actually here on site or whether they had to go back to Batavia, Ohio and get this second car. But a remarkable effort, whatever, by that team. It looks absolutely pristine from that shot on the pit lane.
Yeah,
so,
all the right livery, if you'll pardon the pun.
Yeah.
All the right livery as well. Shea, the engines are firing up. You gave us the order of the right drivers. Anything that shocked us? It is a choice for the team. We first of all qualify for grid positions and then new for 2021 for the points. Who else is going out in this first session that will set the grid for tomorrow's Motul Petit Le Mans?
Okay, well, we've got Daniel Morad in the Allegra Motorsports Mercedes, Andrew Davis in the Team Hardpoint Porsche. I actually just walked by that car. It's Robbie Foley in the Turner Motorsport BMW that you're hearing idling softly right here. Hang on. Yep, there you go. We've got Trent Hinman, as I said, in the right Porsche. We've got Ian James in the 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin. Green flag is out, by the way. It is Madison Snow in the number 1 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. Zach Robichon in the number 9 Pfaff Motorsport Porsche leading the championship. John Potter in the 44 Magnus with Archangel Acura. We've got Aaron Thielitz in the 14 Lexus, and the sister car, the number 12 for Vassar Sullivan, is Frankie Montecalvo. Misha Goikberg is in the 19 Grasser Racing Lamborghini. It's Benjamin Eathis. Keep an eye on this kid. He's in the 42 Audi for NTE. Very quick study in GT3 cars. Guy Cosmo is in the 32 Gilbert Cawthorpe Mercedes. We've got Russell Ward in the 57 Windward Racing Mercedes. And it is Frank Schandorf, who is in the 70 McLaren. It's nice to have a McLaren back on the grid.
Sure is. It has to be a bronze or silver driver, of course, in this part of the session. The idea is that if you do have a pro, that his or her contribution is to getting the points rather than setting the grid position. But of course, some of the teams that Shave mentioned would have a choice of drivers because they have a couple of drivers that would classify as bronze or silver, particularly when we get to these endurance races. Quick fire session. This sets the grid. So this is the positional setting straight away. The Pfaff number 9 plaid Porsche is out and running with Zachary Robichon coming to the line. Lovely sunshine this afternoon. 68 Fahrenheit in the air, 66 on the track. The engines will be liking this. I would think that the Michelin tyres would like it a few degrees warmer, but the teams, Jeremy, will have made their calculations for that. It's not going to get any warmer tomorrow. In fact, it's going to be a bit chillier at race time.
Yeah, temperatures plummeted from yesterday. It was in the low 80s yesterday, 60s today. It's supposed to be a high of 50 on tomorrow. So the massive changes as this week has gone along. But it's absolutely picture perfect conditions at the moment there. Blue sky, nothing but it's certainly crisp and clear as well. And this is going to be, once again, I think, an interesting qualifying session and some interesting names certainly at the wheels of these cars.
Got an interested Corvette driver standing at turn 7. Is sitting at turn 6 rather, watching the GT Le Mans cars. So I suppose that tells us that he isn't going to be qualifying when we get to their session, because he's in his Corvette. In his Corvette polo shirt rather than his overalls. So that was at least a little bit of a giveaway for later on. That was Jordan Taylor who was watching from the number 3 Corvette. So it'll be either Tonio Garcia or Nicky Katzberg that qualifies that number 3 car in not the next session, but the session after. Zachary Robichon goes through to set the first time, a 1:31.6 for Pfaff Porsche, but he is immediately usurped by Andrew Davis in the number 88 Porsche and Guy Cosmo in the number 32 AMG. So already Team Hardpoint and Gilbert Cawthorpe Motorsport fighting away at the front of the field. Expect these cars to do at least 3 or 4, I would say, quick laps here, Jeremy, with these kind of temperatures, not taking too much out the Michelin tyres, and it might take a wee bit of time. Just watch the right Porsche there, the rebuilt right Porsche going through turn 1, scraping the ground there. Now, I'm not going to say that that's a setup issue because it's a new car. I think that's probably still just getting the tyres up to temperature and to pressure, Jeremy, because of the slightly cooler conditions today.
I completely agree with you, John. Yeah, I mean, they go out there on cold tyres, of course, no tyre warmers in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. And with these cool temperatures, it's going to take a few laps to build the pressure and the heat into those tyres. And as the heat builds, so does the pressure. That just increases the ride height just a little bit, gives it a little bit more clearance to the bottom of the car. So I wouldn't expect that car to be bottoming after a lap or 2, but it'd certainly take a few laps really to get these tyres to their optimal working pressures and temperatures.
down towards turn 10 then for the first form. Number 1 on the side, but the car's number is actually number 16. It's the number in the green box. It's the right Porsche coming across the line, going into second position for Trent Hindman. Nothing wrong with that car. 125.754. He just gets bumped down because we've got a new leader, and that is the Audi that Shea said keep an eye on. NTE Sports and Benja Heights in that car, a 120.1. Jeremy, how does that stack up as a lap time? Oh, already down to a 119.
Yeah, that's right. The lap record here in qualifying was set last year by Shinya Michimi in an Acura, a 119.291. The fastest lap in practice up until this, prior to qualifying, was a 119.197. So fractionally quicker, 10th of a second quicker than the lap record in qualifying. So I would expect that record probably to go during this session. So Frankie Montecalvo, a 119.6 there in number 12 Lexus, just a tenth or so ahead of his teammate Aaron Tielitz. Bobby Foley, that car has been fast all weekend as long. That is the car that has set the fastest lap in the practice session. It was Bill Oberlin, I believe, in the first practice session of the weekend, who has set the fastest time so far this week in GTD.
It's been, for quite some time now, a phenomenally competitive class within the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. IMSA getting the GT3 bug, perhaps just a little bit later than one or two other series, but my goodness, they've made the best of it. And for next year, are setting some trends in going to a full GT Daytona GT3 Pro category. First series to do that and split it up that way and have the manufacturers run the cars. Pretty much everywhere else, full manufacturer entries are actively discouraged. Well, that's been turned on its head here in IMSA for next year. And news this week that Corvette for next year will effectively detune and backwards engineer a little bit one of their current GT Le Mans cars to a pseudo GT3 spec and have it performance balanced. They're going to take some of the aero, some of the power. They'll have to run the spec Michelin tyre, and they're going to have to run GT3 electronics as well, including traction control. And rather cleverly, Corvette Racing have already tested that in a competitive situation in a non-championship race at Belle Isle earlier this year. Kept those cards very close to their chest. So we will have full factory teams running this type of GT car in IMSA next year for a separate championship to the, if you like, Pro-Am category, which will still be called GTD. Cars will be the same, although there might be a slight difference in the balance of performance between them. Still waiting to hear the full details of that. These cars have been immensely successful around the world. Thousands of them in the world, and most of the major manufacturers, Jeremy, have jumped on board, and the manufacturers who have come to compete in IMSA competition over the last few years, well, it's been pretty successful for pretty much every single manufacturer. They've all had a go at the front of the field, on the podium, and at the top step of qualifying.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. We've had, well, with McLaren joining this weekend, this will be the 10th manufacturer that has taken part in the season so far. 6 of those manufacturers have got wins. In addition to that, another one has had a pole position and or a most laps, most points scored in qualifying. So it's been a remarkably even season, and this session right now is proving it. It's super tight up at the front. We've got the top 4 cars covered by less than 0.2 of a second at the moment. Madison Snow moving to the top, one of the championship contenders in that Lamborghini for Paul Miller Racing. That's car number 1.
Yeah, by 0.009 of a second over Robbie Foley and the Turner BMW M6, which bows out this weekend. It'll be an M4 next year. The two BMWs in GT Racing standing down. No replacement as far as we know for the GT Le Mans car, although they've not been competing in global competition with that for a wee while. But there is a GT4 already being running, and that is the new M4 GT4. So Forley 0.09, another 0.013 seconds behind is the first of the two Lexus, Aaron Tielitz, by about a tenth and a half from his teammates. So 1:96, 14 and 12. Then Benja Heights for Audi in fifth position, fully barely 0.2 of a second away from the best time. And then there is a bit of a gap, 2.5 tenths back to sixth place Trent Hinman for the first of the Porsches. But very tight indeed, with just under 4 minutes to go. Who's got any performance left to give? Heart of Racing having another go at it. Number 23 car, Ian James, sitting 14th at the moment, 1.2 seconds off the provisional pole time as he heads down the braking area at turn 10.
Yeah, think about that, 1.2 seconds, 14th. Goodness gracious me, that is incredibly tight, is it not? And it's fantastic. We've now got 5 cars within 0.2 of a second. Frankie Montecalvo going off into the 4th position, just a gnat's whisker behind Aaron Tielitz. Aaron Tielitz, by the way, he turned a 1:19.308, followed by a 1:19.314. And Madison Snow, having done one cool down lap, has just gone a little bit quicker at the front, a 1:19.272. Fractionally quicker.
That is a very good time indeed for the young man from Utah.
Both Lexus now in the pits, though, 4th and 5th at the moment in this qualifying session that will set the grid, remember, for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, also in the pits, the number 9 Pfaff Porsche, that's the plaid car. Zachary Robichon has brought that car in. I mean, they're up. The biggest gap I can see in the top 8 or 9 is not even 0.2 of a second. 0.001 now between first and second, the smallest measurable gap we can have, at 19.272 against a 19.273 Lamborghini Huracan versus Audi R8 HTE car. That is an extraordinary NCE sport car. And then 0.22 of a second further back to third place and Robbie Forley, and another 0.013 back to the first of the Lexus. The top 4 separated by 0.036 of a second. Yes, a third of a tenth of a second. Get your phone out, stick it on the stopwatch and do start and stop within 0.036 of a second. See how close you can get. Not going to happen. No, not even close. No. That is absolutely amazing. And now Madison Snow, he's done with his qualifier and he's onto the pit lane as well. Can Benja Heights get any more speed out of that number 42 car for NTE Sport? That car's been fast in each of the sessions so far. It's been among the top 3 or 4, and the young Chilean now is trying to get a pole position lap out of this car. He's just got to find 1/100th of a second, 1,000th of a second, excuse me. Yeah. Down towards turn 6, he's got a clear track in front of him. Sun, just even at this time, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, beginning to drop down towards the top of the trees there. You get some long shadows all down the back straight now in shadow. And the sun is already dropped down. Go ahead, Jeremy. Some of the split times here. Aaron Tielitz actually has the fastest splits in sectors 1 and sector 2. Yes. But not in sector 3, and that's the difference between first and 4th, which is where he stands right moment. I don't think Benjamin Heights is going any quicker on this lap. But it's still another. No, he's lost a bit of time in the second sector. He will get one more lap, Jeremy, if he wants it, and he has stayed out. Lovely exit from turn 12. Well, first time here, of course. Yeah, this is very, very impressive from the young man. I bet he knows exactly where he lost that 1/1000th of a second as well. Hammers the curb at the top of turn 2, tucks in tight at turn 3. This is tidy. Let's have a look at his first split time. He's 2/1000th of a second away from Madison Snow's best split in that first sector. So that's double the gap that he's got at the moment. So can he make up something in the middle sector? It's nearly 42 seconds, the middle sector. It's only 9 seconds or so, that first split. Literally nobody around him. Run a little bit wide and onto the red Georgian clay at the exit of turn 7. In and out of the dappled shadows down the back straight. Checkered flag is out. Snow in the pits. All of the top 9 apart from the Audi that we're talking about now. Down towards turn number 10. He's lost some couple of tenths there, hasn't he? So he's not going to make this. He'll probably peel off into the pit lane here, not put another lap on his Michelin tyres. He'll have to start on those tyres tomorrow. And despite the fact that AudiTireCentre.com sponsor the car, they don't just throw tyres at these cars. There is a tyre allocation. So Madison Snow rightly staying in the car until the session is called. We've seen people lose their times. So that is pole position in the race tomorrow to Paul Miller Racing and to Madison Snow. From Audi and NTE Sport in second. It will be BMW and Turner in third. In fourth, it'll be the first of the Lexus RCFs. Those 4 cars separated by 0.036 of a second. As we said before, a third of a tenth of a second. Now, that kind of gap, if you came off the blocks in the 100-metre sprint in a pro athletics meet, that would be called a false start, because you cannot react that quickly. You have to anticipate. That is extraordinarily close at the front of the field, Jeremy.
Yeah, fantastic effort by the youngster from Chile there. He's been racing in Europe pretty successfully over the last few seasons, but this is his first race, I believe, in North America, certainly here in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. And what a debut it has been already for this young man.
I think he's done a season of Ferrari Challenge.
Did a couple of seasons of Ferrari Challenge. He finished third in the series and then second the following year. That's of course he has. You're absolutely right. Against
Cooper McNeil, he was second to Cooper McNeil. Very nearly beat him. Actually, that year he came in second position. Takes off the helmet. Major Highness walks away from the car, which has now been prepped for one of his co-drivers by NTE. Let's head down to Shea Adam. We haven't always been able to talk to the drivers that have set the times for the grid this season, but we have our VP Racing Fuel pit equipment, and it's been operated by Shea Adam, our pit reporter. Shea.
1/1000th of a second of a pole position. Madison Snow, you're very good around Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, but how close was that for you?
I mean, you tell me it's so close on timing and scoring, and I mean, I haven't looked at it, but it's funny because in the car that doesn't make any difference. That's nothing. But at the same time, I can't tell you anything I would have changed to go, if I had been the guy in second, like to go 1/1000th of a second faster. It's identical.
Were you able to give Brian any useful information going into the points qualifying session, though?
I always give Brian useful information.
Oh, come on, we know that's not true.
It goes both ways over here. It's good. I mean, that's why we're such a successful team, because we're able to, bounce off each other. And I think, like, if I say turn 12's flat, Brian goes out there and can do turn 12 flat. And it's the same thing. Like, if he goes out there and tells me, hey, the car can do this, I go out there and believe him wholeheartedly. And that's why we're such a good teammates.
Your 6th career pole position, your 3rd on the year. That makes you the most pole-winning driver of the year. Congratulations on that, too.
Thank you.
Shea, see if you can grab the 2nd place driver, Benja Heights, as well. You'd like to hear from him. I mean, that's as close as it can be. I just saw him rip the helmet off and step behind for a moment. Melanie Snow on the pit box there as well. That's another great racing driver, Melanie, who won the GTC Championship a few years ago in the IMSA competition. I suppose, a forerunner of the GT3s in some respect, and also proud mum to Madison, of course. So, whilst she is walking around to NTE Sports to see if we can get the second place driver on the grid, pro drivers who are going out in this session for the points, Shea, please.
Walking and reading at the same time, so give me a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
Multitasking, excellent.
Yes, exactly. Daniel Giuncadello will be the driver in the 28 Allegra Motorsports Mercedes. We're going to have Kat in the Porsche. It's Catherine Legg in the Team Hardpoint, number 88. It's Bill Oberlin in the 96 Turner Motorsport BMW. We've got Jan Halen in the 16 Wright Motorsport Porsche. At least it was supposed to be on. I think it still is, actually, yellow helmet. Another yellow helmet is Ross Gunn, 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin. It's Brian Sellers in the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini, car number 1. It is Larry for Pfaff Motorsports. That's Lawrence Vantour in that Porsche. Andy Lally in the 44 Magnus with Archangel Racing Acura. We've got Jack Hawksworth and Zach Veach for the 2 Lexuses, 14 and 12 respectively. Frank Pereira is doing the Grasser Racing qualifying for that Lamborghini, number 19. It's Jaden Conrad who's going to go out in the super fast Audi. That's number 42. So 2 of their silver drivers going out for these 2 sessions. Another silver driver, we've got Mike Skeen in the 32 Gilbert Cawthorpe Mercedes, and Mauro Engel in the 57 Mercedes. Mauro is always quick. Put him in a windward car. That's a good combination. And finally, last but certainly not least, Ben Barnicott in the McLaren.
Whilst Shea tries to find our second place driver, second by all of 0.001 of a second, Jeremy has more news on Madison Snow.
Yeah, just a quick note here. As Shea rightly pointed out, his 6th pole position, and going back to the start of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship in 2014, that puts him up inside the top 10 now in terms of most poles. Ricky Taylor leads the way with 13. James French has 12. Jordan Taylor has 11. Nick Tandy 9. Colin Brown and Antonio Garcia on 8. Richard Westbrook on 7. And next up, Madison Snow will join Dane Cameron and Ben Keating on 6. And it could be also, it could be that session is not significant for the championship. The next one could be, because this is when the points are going to be issued in the class. If this session had been scoring for points, with the number 9 car down in 8th position and Madison Snow scoring the pole position, that would be a 12-point swing. At the moment, the number 9 team leads the number 1 by 50 coming into this final race of the weekend. So a 12-point differential. My point is, it's more than 10, and with the 10 times factor from last year, that means that's another position that you
don't have to make
in
up in
the race. You don't have to pick up in the race. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, I knew exactly where you were going with that, Jeremy. So it is the 9 Pfaff car versus the number 1 Paul Miller car, Porsche versus Lamborghini in that battle. Those are the 2 teams that Jeremy was talking about. Benji, I think, has disappeared for the moment, but Shea tenaciously is hanging around the NTE pit, so that NTE Sports pit. And we'll, thanks to Kelly Brulé, we'll, I'm sure, find out when he returns to the pit lane so that we can have a little chat with the young man who so nearly snatched pole position in his first visit to Road Atlanta in this level of competition. And what a debut in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship he is having. So just waiting couple of seconds before we get the green flag. So all of the GT Daytonas go back out again. This is for points. Important, as Jeremy said, with a championship that is so tight. We'll also add in all of the GT Le Mans cars, and there are 6 of them this weekend. The 2 Chevy Corvettes that have been a staple. BMWs are back this weekend, and we have not one but two. I feel like a market trader. Not just one, sir. No, sir. Not one Porsche, two Porsches. Two Porsches for the price of one. That's what I'm giving you here. Two Porsche WeatherTech cars, 97 and 79. And Shea Adam can give us the qualifying drivers for the GT Le Mans cars as we get the green flag. Shea, who's driving the Corvettes?
I can only tell you the Corvettes because they were the only two that I saw when I was walking down the pit lane. It's Antonio Garcia and Nick Tandy in the 3 and 4 Corvettes, respectively, which is interesting because sometimes when Corvette Racing do these endurance races, they put their third drivers in for qualifying. Not the case here this weekend.
Yeah, just to give them a bit more time in the car more than anything else. Let's have a look and see who is heading out then. It is Cooper McNeil in the number 79 WeatherTech Porsche. Fred McAvecchi has taken the wheel of the 97. In the Corvettes, Antonio Garcia and Nick Tandy as reported, and it will be Jesse Krohn and Connor De Filippi in respectively the 24 and 25 BMW M8. Great to see the BMWs back. This is the final time we'll see them. Final time that we'll see all of these GT Le Mans cars. They have been a little short on numbers in the last couple of seasons. Totally understandable decision by IMSA to wind up the class, Jeremy, but what entertainment that these Le Mans GT cars have given us down through the years in IMSA competition.
Yeah, we've had some fantastic racing, haven't we, amongst the GTLM contenders, and it's certainly been a shame to see just the 3 full season entrants this season, so that's why IMSA really didn't have any choice on that one. It was definitely the right move. But yeah, the good news is even the GTD cars might not be as technically exciting as the GTLMs, but they certainly provide equally good racing, and that's what we want to see, isn't it? That's our primary concern, is to see good racing. What a wonderful evening it is now with those shadows lengthening, and it's absolutely gorgeous conditions here. Probably do with a few more degrees perhaps, but it looks super.
Huge crowd. There was a big crowd on Wednesday. It got bigger on Thursday. I don't think there's a single RV or parking spot, certainly down through the S's. On the back straight, drivers right, and the skid pan area is absolutely packed. The relatively new area to drivers left on the back straight is pretty full as well. This is a big crowd of people who have committed, Jeremy, not just to coming on race day, but have been here since Wednesday or Thursday. This is Petit Le Mans of old, and well, in fact, even the left-hand side of the back straight is now as full as I've ever seen it. Immense crowd down at the amphitheatre as well at turn 10.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen a bigger crowd than that there. It's fantastic. Tremendous atmosphere here, and with the leaves changing colour as well, being so late in the year now, months later than usual, the place looks even better. I
think you're right. I do. It's very picturesque, isn't it? We're only just over an hour away from sunset, so the shadows are very long. We're getting, and the photographers are going to absolutely love this. We are right into golden hour for this shot. For these shots in this practice session. The additional lights have already been turned on just for the back end of this session. It will be getting a little bit gloomy, but with a clear sky, it's going to be a beautiful evening. Sun in the eyes of the drivers as they come up through turn 5 and then again into turn 6-7 area. But they should have relatively clean windscreens because they'll only be out for 15 minutes. Race day tomorrow, official sunset at 5:33 and 48 seconds actually, so let's call it 5:44. And the end of twilight is about a minute before 6 o'clock, so we're going to run pretty much half of the race tomorrow in darkness, which is as much darkness as we've ever had here in the history of Petit Le Mans, going back to 1998. My first trip to Brazelton and to Road Atlanta. Just seeing a little bit of jostling for position here, trying to find some clean laps. Jesse Krohn has gone through. on a 19.877. Fred McAvecchi getting his Michelin's up to temperature and pressure quickly at 1.98727. A 19.983 for Brian Sellers, backing up his teammate Madison Snow, who's taken the pole. But Sellers looking for those additional points, Jeremy, that could be so important in the championship fight with the number 9 FAF car, currently sitting down in 8th position in class when I take the 6 GTLMs out.
Yeah, I don't expect that to remain that case. I would expect Lawrence Vantor to pick up some speed there. Brian Sellers and Ross Gunn separated by just a few tenths of a second as well. But into the 19s, you say, which is pretty impressive for his second flying lap out there. But I think there's probably another 3/4 of a second to come from those top contenders in GTE. Jack Hawksworth improves that by going fastest of all,
wow.
118.9624, the number 14 Lexus.
Rather puts a spanner in the plans of the number 1 Lamborghini team from Paul Miller Racing. Matt Campbell restores the honour of GT Le Mans with the 79 Porsche. So it was Matt Campbell that went out. I think I said it was Cooper McNeil. That has changed over the course of that lap, so apologies for that. Maybe just forgetting to change the driver ID. A 118.435 for Matt Campbell. That is not hanging about for the Porsche, the WeatherTech Porsche number 79, just going through turn 7 now.
Yeah, I expect a fair bit of time to come from there. The lap record, in fact, was a 1:15.1. That was set by Antonio Garcia last year.
Sorry, Jeremy. Hindhoff triggered by picture shocker. BMW, the red one, that's the 25, off at turn 5 and picking up some debris and an advertising hoarding. There was another car involved in that as well. Hearing reports of oil on the entry to turn 5. That's why there was a couple of cars off there. In fact, the BMW had gone off earlier on in the piece. That's where they picked up the advertising hoarding at the top of the hill. I wonder if they've cracked an oil cooler at the front of that car then, in the number 25, and he's gone off on his own oil and is followed off by Aston Martin. Is that, or was it one of the, yeah, it was the Aston Martin. It was the 23 Harter Racing that had to avoid the flying correct board, and then as the BMW turns into 5, big spray of oil and debris onto the screen and the camera of Harter Racing number 23 Aston Martin. Nice piece of avoidance there by Ross Gunn to keep that car out of the wall, and Connor De Filippi has parked BMW number 25.
That's the bad news for BMW. The good news is Jesse Krohn has just taken the fastest time, a 1:15.226. He's got a half a second in hand over Matt Campbell in the number 79 Porsche, and then Nick Tandy in the other Porsche. Oops, sorry, no, the number 4 Corvette in 3rd position. He's a full second, half a second behind Campbell as well, so a whole second covering the top 3 at the minute. Is this track going to clean up again? Are we going to be done in terms of fast times?
It's the last time as well we'll be talking about the fact that the GT Le Mans are the only class in the championship that have a choice of tyre compounds. Usually 3 different tyre compounds for slick tyres available to them, running what Michelin call the confidential rather than the customer tyres. That all disappears next year. The GTD Pros, the factory teams, will be running on a single construction and compound of Michelin tyre, the customer tyres that the current GT Daytona class are running on, or at least some evolution of that. We have in the past seen the fastest laps come at the end of the 15 minutes. And another car off the track, this time the Husky Chocolate number 28 Allegra GT3 car. Very long sideways slide for that car, and Daniel Huncadella, that's coming up the hill to turn 2. and he's almost got back on the track again, but pulls out right in front of traffic, but he couldn't have seen over the top of the hill. He's got off on the exit of turn 1 and slid sideways up the hill. That's quite impressive, that. As he turns into turn 1, the back end was just breaking away from him, and he's off the track, sliding sideways. I think he may have just touched the wall at the top of the hill. Oh no, he's got away with it, kept on the throttle. Juncadella saving the rear end of the car and then rejoining, facing the wrong direction. I have never seen anything like that at all, Jeremy, in all my time here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
I agree with you. It was an extraordinary shot. His number 97 car has been off as well. It's an extraordinary shot there from the camera at turn 3, looking back to 2 and kind of over the crest of the hill there. You just all of a sudden see this car. It looks like it was kind of hovering on the grass, completely sideways. There was no nothing either side. There was no debris coming out at either end of the car. It was sliding directly toward the camera.
Completely broadside.
Yes. Real sight.
Yeah, very odd. Completely broadside, and not from not pointing in any direction you would have expected him to have appeared from. Very, very odd. That was turn 5, by the way, for the WeatherTech Porsche. That looked like one of those swappers that you get at the turn 5, at the exit of turn 5. But again, no harm, no foul. He says, just having a closer look as it comes over the top of the brow. Beautiful light under the Fox Factory Bridge, and now down towards the final corner. It is Jesse Krohn and Matt Campbell, half a second apart, first to second. BMW in the pits now, that number 24. Matt Campbell still out there. Fred Makovecki, the 97, has stayed out after a slightly tardy lap last time, after that wee mistake. Then the 2 Corvettes, Tandy from Garcia. Nick Tandy off to WEC next year with the C8R for a full season for Corvette for the first time ever in World Endurance Championship. So they are splitting their resources at Corvette Racing between a single entry into GTD Pro here in the WeatherTech Championship and a singleton entry in the whole of the FIA World Endurance Championship. Now the good news for them is that the first round of both of those championships is in St Patrick's Day week next year. Sebring 2022 with the FIA WEC being somewhat of the warm-up act to the 12 hours. They'll race on the Friday, and then the Global One Sebring 12 hours will be on the Saturday. But only one car in each of the championship, although Corvette Racing saying in their press release on Thursday that they will be seeking 2 entries for the Le Mans 24, and it will be, of course, 2 GT Le Mans GTE entries. The version of the car they'll be racing here at IMSA is not eligible for that.
Fred Mako did improve on that last lap, but remains third on the charts, 1:16.004. That was a brilliant lap by Jesse Krohn, who's already, you said, John, in the pits in that BMW. So it looks like Antonio Garcia's lap record, 1:15.163, might just about survive here.
In GTD, that Jack Hawksworth time of a 1:18.8 has just about held up. Brian Sellers with a 1:18.9, just barely a tenth of a second back, 0.089, and he's got all of 0.041 on Bill Oberlin. But where is the number 9 car, I hear you ask? Well, Lawrence Vanter's best is a 1:19.1. He did a 1:19.2 last time around, and he's still out there, and that is only good enough for, let me see, 5th in class. Check that, 6th in class for that championship leading car.
Yeah, Frank Pereira's just jumped ahead of him.
Exactly, as I was speaking, Frank Pereira in the Lamborghini from GRT Grassel Racing Team has just jumped up into 5th position. So that's 2nd place points for Paul Miller Racing, plays 6th place points for Pfaff Motorsport in that battle for the championship.
Yeah, and that's only a 7-point swing, which isn't going to be enough to make a difference in terms of the positions that they will require during the race tomorrow. Because you get 10 times as many points are scored in the race than in qualifying. 35 points for taking the pole position, 32 for second place, but tomorrow in the race, 350 for the win, 320, 300 on down from there. So the deficit of 50 points reduced just a little bit, but not hugely there. So good luck for Lawrence Van Tour. It's Lexus, Lamborghini, BMW, Lexus. Bill Arbelin in third position. He's only a gnat's whisker behind Brian Sellers in that number 96 car as the checkered flag waves.
So Campbell is on a lap at the moment in the Porsche. Where is he? He's on the back straight. Don't think his splits are going to be anywhere. Going to have a heck of a final split. Down towards turn 10 now. Jesse Krohn, all three of the sectors, he has the fastest time. Well, Campbell's staying out. If he's staying out, they must think he has a chance as he comes to the checkered flag, runs over the blue and yellow curbs at the exit. Does he improve? 1:15.738 is his best. No, that was a one.
Yeah, but that was a 1:15.740.
Yeah.
So 2 thousandths away from his previous best.
So that was a good final, very good final sector. So that's why they left him out. They thought he was in with a chance. So it will be BMW in their final outing in GT Le Mans. Well, everybody's final outing in GT Le Mans, but yet to announce what they'll be doing for next year for the Rahal team. And that is a earned pole, so that is a position for the number 24 car. The 25 with a problem and didn't get a representative lap time after hitting some trackside furniture. Turn number 5. Actually, they've done the cut through. And the 24 car coming down to the pole spot, and Jesse Krohn behind the wheel of it. So great for them to start Motul Petit Le Mans on pole position, honouring their sponsors. And it will be BMW and Porsche on the front row, Chevrolet and Porsche on the second row, and Chevrolet and BMW on the third row. So not the usual 2x2 Noah's Ark. We have 3 rows with 3 different combinations. Well done. And in GTD, the points go like this. We've already set the pole, remember. That was the Paul Miller Lamborghini. Will start on pole position for GT Daytona. Jack Hawkwood captures the maximum points for Lexus and the number 14 car. From Brian Sellers getting the second best point score for Lamborghini and Paul Miller Racing. And the important thing is the gap between them and the 9 FAF Porsche. They're down in 6th position, Lawrence Van Toor, in the points scoring. And Jeremy Shaw, Jack Hawksworth, making somewhat of a habit of capturing top points for Lexus.
Yeah, this is the 5th time this season that Hawksworth has scored the maximum points in qualifying. That includes the second of the sprint races, which doesn't count towards the season-long championship with Watkins Glen, but 5 times he scored maximum points. And for those points that do count, already coming into this weekend, Hawksworth had scored more points than any other driver in GTD, 270 to the 258 of both Bill Arbelin in the BMW and Lawrence Van Toor in the Porsche.
Let's go down to Shea Adam for a VP Racing Fuel pit report with our pole sitter in GT Le Mans, our final ever pole sitter in GT Le Mans, Shea.
Yeah, and Jesse Krohn told me he was enjoying every single lap because not only is it the last for GTLM, the last for this car too. So what was it like going out there? I know you were thrashing it, but you had a smile, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew that it was going to be the last qualifying with this car. This beast with low fuel, new tires, it's just a pleasure to drive. So I was just trying to enjoy every moment. I went out there just thinking, just have fun, see where we end up, and clearly it wasn't too bad.
It's got good speed over the low fuel new tires. How's it going to be for the race, though?
Well, we hope it's going to be just as quick, but obviously it's a 10-hour race. There's more cars than probably ever. So it's going to be about keeping out of trouble, and obviously qualifying doesn't mean the most in a 10-hour race, but we're still happy to be here, and I think we also have a good race car.
Do you think the colder conditions favor the BMW?
Yeah, always. It helps our tire deck, it helps the balance. So I think overall this is a lovely weekend to go racing.
Congrats, Jesse. Third pole position, and as I said to you a few minutes ago, they don't come at the easy tracks.
Thank you.
Done a good job there. Wonder where Jesse is going to rock up next year. A couple of tweets coming in at IMSA Radio. Tom Welfare says some of the camera angles for Petit Le Mans this year are fantastic. He's watching the live feed via IMSARadio.com. This is really helping to show the speed of the cars. More of the camera from the outside of the downhill S's, please. NASCAR Productions, take a bow. Been with us for a few years now. Also, hello to Tim Fulbrook, who is listening along with the TRB Discord group, enjoying an epic qualifying so far. Madison Snow about to put the sticker on the car for the earned pole position for the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini, and good points as well from his teammates. So that's the GTs, Jeremy. We move on now to a frankly very exciting 10-car grid in LMP3, and you've been hoping for this for quite some time. You've got your wish this weekend, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tremendous, isn't it? A really, really stout entry in LMP3, and I think this kind of vindicates the decision that IMSA made to bring LMP3 into the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. We've got United Autosports over here for their third or fourth race of the season in the. It's just the second race actually with the LMP3 car, but we've got 47 Motorsports Junior 3 making its debut this weekend. Andretti Autosports, Performance Tech Motorsports, a stalwart of this category. Fast MD Racing making its debut this weekend as well with car number 40. And then the other regulars, Core Autosports, Riley Motorsports, and then Win Autosport, which is also back for this final weekend as well. So a stout entry, and this is going to be a really interesting contest.
Hello to Jamie Price, who should be here this weekend and isn't. I won't go through the saga for Jamie, the ace photographer, and why he's not here. He's still in Europe at the moment. I've been following your trials and tribulations, Jamie. Hopefully you'll get home soon. Our thoughts with you. If there's one upside, it does mean you get to watch live and free today and tomorrow as well, with no blocks or breaks on IMSARadio.com. I hope you're going to tune in tomorrow. In all seriousness, I'm really sorry for your situation at the moment. Hope you're keeping your spirits up, and good to know that you tuned in. You would love this light here right now, wouldn't you? I know it's killing you not being here right now. Safe home soon, Jamie, and good luck to you. Hopefully we'll see you at a track again soon and have you back in your, shall we say, natural environment. At IMSA Radio, if you'd like to get in touch with us, beautiful evening, just after 4:30 in the afternoon, an hour before sunset, about 90 minutes before full darkness, when we get into the race tomorrow. Shea Adam with this VP Racing Fuel pit report. She can give us the qualifying drivers for LMP2. This is position and points. 10 cars ready to go out, Shea. What do you know?
Well, I'm still making my way down because the way that they are gridded for this weekend, we've got all of the DPI and GTLM cars closest to the penalty box, which is where the pit interviews are conducted. Then we've got quite a few GTD cars, and now I'm just seeing my first LMP3 for the 83 Win Autosport. That's going to be Josh Skelton, and that's a very good story there. The young Brit getting his first opportunity. He's managed by a couple of very accomplished drivers, including Andy Merrick, who's driving in another car here this weekend. So that'll be fun and a little bit awkward at certain times. I can see the headlights of the championship leading 74. I think That's the helmet of Gar Robinson. It looks like it is blue and orange from afar. For Core Autosport, which is the car just behind them, it has to be one of their bronze drivers, which would be John Bennett, or perhaps George Kurtz. Let me just get a tiny little bit closer. Oh, for the number 2, United Autosports LMP3 machine. I think that was Nicholas Cruton. We've got, yes, it is Gar in the 74. In the 54 Core Autosport machine, that looks to me like it is Mr. John Bennett, but oh no, where are they? Of course not on the pit lane. That was the 91 that I was seeing. It was Jim Cox behind the wheel of that machine. I don't see Core. I don't see anyone on their pit box. This is drama. They're second in the championship, 50 points back. It's going to be a lot more than 50 for not participating in qualifying.
Okay, Shea, thank you. We'll keep an eye on that and watch out for the 54 Core machine. It is shown as running. Shea, go ahead.
Nope, they have a fuel cell related issue that they are currently working on back in the garage, but there is no way they're making it out for qualifying.
Oh, right. Okay, so yes, that's and Todd Archer's just showing as leaving the pitch. He's the last car out. So I wonder how that's tripped the sensor then, because that is showing as running. And a spin, I think, coming out of the pit lane, or maybe on the first flying lap for, is that the HRX car? Difficult to see with the sunlight behind it. It is right at the exit of the pit lane. I think that's gone up the inside. It is the number 40 Fast MD car that has gone around, and that is the Todd Archer car that was leaving the pit lane, one of the last to go out. And a spin then coming out of the pit lane, and that's brought out a red flag, and the clock will continue to run because he's in a dangerous position there, Jeremy, unsighted to the drivers coming through the first corner.
Yeah, that is a very tricky location there for that car to be stationary, and you know, to get that car going, it's pretty much got to go forward, and it's going to take it right onto the racing line as well. So more potential for dramas there. So definitely the right call there by race control to throw the caution period and bring everybody back into the pits now, reset things, and then get going again. But it's certainly going to restrict the amount of time that these guys have left. Already 2.5 minutes have elapsed in this 15-minute session.
Yes, that's taking a little bit of life out of the Michelin tyres as well. Now, Shea Adam is our resident rules expert. Causing a red flag in qualifying, that's going to mean a loss of a time. And we've also got a damaged number 83 coming into the pit lane as well. And that is the Win Autosport car that looks like the left rear wheel is not fastened on properly, or has it got a suspension breakage? No, that's a suspension breakage on the left rear, and there's, I think, been a bit of contact there as well. We'll get Shea to have a look at that in a moment. But Shea, am I right? If you cause a red flag, you lose fastest lap time.
Your fastest and your second fastest. Yes, that is correct.
Right. Okay, so that means that Todd's going to have to do 3 quick laps. And he will lose his fastest 2 when he eventually gets going. And Shea is already hustling down towards the number 83 Win Autosport car. So this has been eventful, Jeremy, already. And we haven't had a lap time posted yet from the P3s.
Correct, yeah, that's right. So yeah, they'll get back out again. They should be able to get up to speed. But you know, it's not super warm. It is a beautiful evening there. About 64 degrees, I think it's showing at the moment. So you know, nice temperatures certainly. Absolutely gorgeous day, and I think we're just about ready to go back to green flag.
You are absolutely right, Jeremy. So quickie red flag, just waiting for the stranded car to get out of the way and the damaged car to get back in the pit lane. So effectively, we're going to have 10 minutes of running, and that to what we had at the start. I think we'll just have had enough in terms of making this a full session. Normally need to have 12 minutes, and we had
12 or 10.
Now you made me doubt myself now, Jeremy.
I think it's 10, but
okay. It is 10, says
sure.
Shea. All right.
Yeah, okay.
So we are going to get a real session. Shea has made her way down to the damaged number 83 Win Autosport car. Shea, what's going on at the left rear of that car?
Left rear, and I would say the wing on the right side as well. That is very much askew and off of where it should be. The left rear wing end plate is completely destroyed. Little bits of carbon shards hanging off that. Be careful, don't touch that without a glove. The cheese wedge is hanging down as well. There's scuffage on the Michelin tire. You can almost not read Michelin from the top half of it. And then the carbon over top of the wheel well, that's cracked too. So this definitely had it off.
Looks like that's been a sideways contact with something quite hard there. The wheel stood up pretty well, as Shea was describing it. Wheel and tyre, the Michelin logo half gone, but that has broken the left rear suspension. One of the wishbones, I would say, has gone there. And the rules, of course, Jeremy, is that they can't make any repairs to that, so that's qualifying for that car done and dusted. That, by the way, that car we're talking about is the number 83 Win Autosport car.
That's right, John. I'm assuming there's no contact between those two cars.
Well, I don't know now that I was thinking that, yes.
Yeah,
are those two things related?
Yeah, the young Englishman there, Josh Skelton, making his IMSA debut this weekend in the number 83 car for Win Autosport, joining Matt Bell and Naveen Rao, of course, who've both had success in the past. Naveen Rao, this would be his second start in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. Former head of artificial intelligence at Intel, so he's a fairly bright character, is Naveen. He and Matt Bell had a lot of success in the IMSA prototype challenge as well over the last few years. But for Josh Skelton, youngster just 21 years of age from Maryport up in the northwest of England.
Oh, right.
He's come up through the ranks in Formula 4, Formula 3, and then for the last season or so he's been driving in the Le Mans Cup, Michelin Le Mans Cup in LMP3 cars, and I believe won at Spa earlier this season.
Yeah, beautiful part of the world over in Cumbria in the northwest, just south of the Lake District. Doing good work, as Jeremy said, in some of the junior formula. Thanks again to Eve Hewitt, the responsible adult, NASCAR Productions, particularly Alex, and to our executive producer Tim Gray for sorting out the technical solution to get communications to and from Shea, and colleagues at 4G for providing the radio pack as well, of course, and all the connections done by Tyler Norling and the IMSA technical crew at the track end. By no means an easy feat, and some very innovative suggestions that have been made. I think it's fair to say we're using some software and some connectivity in ways that it wasn't designed to, but we've found a lovely couple of workarounds, and allows us to have Shea on the far side, in fact on both sides of the track, and talking to the world this weekend. So thank you to everybody who's put their heads together. Fortunately, I wasn't involved in that, otherwise it would have been tin cans and a piece of string. It's about the end of my technical solution. That would have been my addition to the brainstorming session. Jeremy, starting to get a bit difficult now with that low sun. We're only 45 minutes away from full sunset here. The last session, it's going to be even worse. In certain parts of the track, it's really going to be in the driver's eyes as they're looking for their turning and clipping points at the far side of the circuit.
Yeah, particularly I think heading up into turn 5 right now, and then more particularly perhaps heading into turn 7 through 6 and into 7, and to a lesser extent to turn 2 as well, I think, as well. But the sun, it's in a few minutes' time. I think turn 5 won't be a problem because I think the sun will kind of set over that. But turn 7 certainly is going to be difficult for these drivers. Fastest time at the moment by Rasmus Lind, the Swede, in car number 38 for Performance Tech Motorsports.
Yeah, best time is 16.359 against the 16.879. Rasmus Lind is heading it up at the moment. Half a second the gap, and then another half a second back to third for Jarrett Andretti in the Andretti Autosports number 36 car. In third. In second at the moment is the number 2 for United Autosports.
Certainly interesting strategy by this number 38 team. Most of the teams here in LMP3 are putting their least experienced driver out for this qualifying session. Most of the drivers in this field are eligible to compete in qualifying. The only people that aren't are the gold rated drivers, which is Andy Merrick in car number 2, Spencer Pigot in car number 30, Colin Brown in car number 54, Felipe Fraga in number 74, and Jerome Bleckermol in the 91. Everybody else is either bronze, silver or bronze, so any of those drivers is eligible to take part in this session. But Rasmus Lind has now been edged by Nicholas Kruten, the young German driver, 1:16.080 for Kruten in that United Autosports car number 2, the 19-year-old from Trier in Germany.
Well, that's another lovely part of the world as well, in Trier. Very nice. Another good run by the United Autosport USA team this Ligier in their red, white and blue colours. This is the team of Zach Brown of McLaren fame and Richard Dean of, well, frankly, Richard Dean fame and Yorkshire fame. Richard been around for a very long time, no mean driver in his own right. Should say that about Zach Brown as well, actually. Pedals, big off at the top of turn 2. No harm, no foul. It just bounces across the grass for Nick Creighton in the United car. Just took too much curb at turn 2 and then through the motorcycle chicane. A bit of air that might have damaged the underbody and the undertray of that United. Oh, sorry, it's not the United, excuse me. It's the, saw the number 2 on the side. That's the illuminated number 2. That is the Rasmus Lind car and the 38 of Performance Tech. My apologies there. Rasmus making the mistake. Yeah, United. Richard Dean's been around for a very long time. And a pretty good driver in his own right. Based in, as Richard would tell you, God's home county of Yorkshire. In the North Midlands of England. Come from as far north as I do, that's where the south starts as far as I'm concerned. We've had many spirited discussions with Deanie about that down through the years.
Nicholas Kruten quicker again, 15.782 there in car number 2. That's a really fine effort by the young German driver. He's now got 0.4 of a second over Rasmus Lind, Jarrett Andretti in third place, and it's Jim Cox, the wheel number 91 car. That's a very good effort by Jim, assuming he is driving that car. Kind of 91 in the 4th position ahead of his teammate at Riley Motorsports and the championship leader, Gar Robinson.
United's have got a bit of competition in Europe this year. WRT, Vincent Voss's team has swept all before them in ELMS and in WEC in championship terms in their first season at that in sports car competition. Got a lot of experience, WRT, in other GT and DTM, but United have got a great background behind them. Does not surprise me at all that they're doing well here. And don't these LMP3 sound fantastic as well. Really low sun now as through comes Cronin again to cross the line and improves again. Nicholas Cruton, a 1:16.0, Jeremy, and stretches his lead to almost 0.3 of a second. He'll get, I think he got through before the checkered flag, so he will get this lap.
Yeah, that's a really good effort by him, and Rasmus Lind is pushing as hard as he can. He's just gone faster, 15.9 there for Rasmus Lind.
So the checkered flag out, and another quick sector for Cruton. Also not a slow sector either. To be fair for Rasmus Lind, he's got to find 0.3 of a second. He's dropped a couple of thousandths, but he's going to improve, I think, Rasmus Lind. I'm not sure it's going to be quick enough to steal away pole position. How is the United car doing? Answer, not bad at all. But it's Lind who's improving on his time at the moment. He's got the gap down to just under 0.2 of a second. This will be his final lap time. Goes through. 0.086 of a second. My goodness me. A 1:15.750 for Lind against a 15.664 for the United Autosport driver. Excellent stuff from the two young qualifiers at the front of the field, Jeremy.
Yeah, hats off there to Nicholas Cruton, because we know how quick Rasmus Lind is. He's shown that on numerous occasions, both in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship and the IMSA Prototype Challenge Series. He was quick again in this morning's final round, having won the most recent race at VIR. But he's going to be beaten here. Nicholas Cruton, the youngster from Germany, will have his first pole position. And very, very well earned as well it was for that United Autosports team.
The sun going down, the moon coming up, around about a half moon this weekend. Beautiful, beautiful conditions. Still 64 Fahrenheit on the track and in the air. The humidity that was up in the high 70s earlier in the week has dropped down to a far more manageable and pleasant 39%. Shea Adam is patrolling the pit lane and will make her way down towards pit out, where Nicholas Cruton is coming towards you now, Shea. I noticed that Shea had changed out of her fireproofs, as there's no requirement for it in this session. No fueling going on down in the pit lane. And she hasn't complained about the cold yet, Jeremy, so it can't be too bad. Here's your pole sitter, Shea, coming down towards you in the Ligier for United Autosport. The engine is turned off, and Shea will step forward to get a word with our LMP3 pole sitter, our third of 5 pole sitters that we'll have for Motul Petit Le Mans this weekend. Congratulations to United and to the young German Nicholas Cruton. Shea?
That's a very cool helmet design that Nicholas has. Actually, when you see it up close, it's got chrome with yellow and orange on it. It's very flashy, but it's also very nice. I'm a fan of that. Let me just walk in here. He's taking his gloves off. Give him a moment to take his helmet off as well and pull out the earbuds so he can actually hear what I'm saying. John, I thought you would be impressed with me not complaining about the weather, though. That comes as a dint of now living in Utah and understanding what cold really is.
Yes,
Nicholas Cruton,
very true.
first pole position, first Petit Le Mans. This place, you must be having fun around Road Atlanta, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing. We came here without any testing, and we didn't expect a lot from it. But yeah, the car was awesome, and I just want to thank the whole United crew, and this place is by far my favorite track.
Now, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta on Michelin tires, that's different from what you're used to as well, racing in Europe, isn't it?
Yeah, we're also using Michelin tires, but obviously they're not preheated they are preheated in Europe and not here. So yeah, it's really difficult to get the tires up to 10, but yeah, it worked out beautifully.
What are you expecting for the start of the race? How much is pole position going to help?
Obviously, pole position is only a small job before the 10-hour race, but yeah, I think we have a strong lineup. If we could just keep out of trouble, I think we're going to be good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, first pole position for that young man. And very assured, Jeremy, in that interview. He's got a future ahead of him, I would say. And if United Autosports have got confidence in him, he's clearly a talent that we need to keep an eye on as well, I'd say.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, he started off in F4 when he was just 16 years of age, I think, maybe even a little bit younger than that. He won a couple of races in 2018, moved up to Euro Formula in 2020, finished 5th in that championship, which is no mean feat. And since then, he's been plying his trade in sports cars as well. So, yeah, definitely somebody to watch.
So one more session to go. The combined DPI and LMP2, it will set, unless something very odd happens, it will set pole position. Actually, it will set pole position because whatever happens, these cars will start at the front of the field tomorrow for Motul Petit Le Mans 2021. I want to say a big thank you to Roger Vincent, who's cutting the pictures for those of you watching either at the track or further afield. Making art as well as covering race cars for us. Beautiful conditions being utilised to the best effect by Roger and the team, and a big thanks as well to our camera operators. It's been a long day for them here on this very busy Friday with races and qualifying session aplenty, and from our point of view as well, Jeremy and I were commenting on it particularly during the races, but also during some of the qualifying sessions. Brilliant work by our replay team, still affectionately known by me certainly as the tape makes. Mark Smith and the rest of the team have been absolutely on fire this week so far. Bodes well for tomorrow. Shea Adam, you have some news of the qualifying drivers for our two top prototype classes. Who have we got? Let's start with the number 10 and the Konica Minolta Acura.
Philippe Albuquerque for that car. It will be Felipe Nasser chasing him down in the 31 Whelen Engineering Cadillac. Kamui Kobayashi has the lap record at Le Mans. He's going to try and get it at Petit Le Mans as well. I kind of like that symmetry. He's in the 48 Ally Racing Cadillac. We've got Harry Tinknell in the 55 Mazda. Last time they're going out for qualifying. Dane Cameron in the Meyer Shank Racing Acura. It's Seb Bourdais in the 5 Mustang Sampling Racing Cadillac, and I saved one of them for last because there is a slew of Chip Ganassi Racing mechanics in front of the 01. It is Kevin Magnussen in the car. He's been sitting in there for a little while, but the nose is off. There's work going on to the suspension on both sides, and looks like a little bit of work in the pedal box too. So this one is an unexpected delay to the 01. Definitely, you have to say, one of the favorites for pole position here. For the LMP2 cars, for the sake of brevity, we've got Ben Keating in the 52 PR1 Matheson Motorsports. It is Stephen Thomas in the number 11 for Win Autosport. John Ferrano in the number 8 for Tower. It is Dwight Merriman in the 18 for Era Motorsports, and Jim McGuire in the other United Autosports entered prototype.
Thank you, Shea. Well done. Nice to see the Era Crayon car, the number 18, back in its Crayon livery that we saw earlier in the season. There are die-cast models of that car. We've been waiting for a while for that. It's a stunning livery. There's a great story behind it as well. Go on the Era site, Era Motorsport site, and the whole story's on there. Shea, and that was designed by a young fan, was it not?
a young Canadian named Owen, who I met this morning because the team brought him to this Petit Le Mans.
Ah, excellent, excellent stuff.
Yes, great story.
Yeah, really good engagement there. And while I'm thanking people, by the way, before it gets loud, a long day for us at the Hagerty Global Broadcast Centre as well. I've been off caffeine for a little while. I'm weaning myself back on this weekend because it's such a long event and a long race. So thanks to Sacred Sports and Sacred Coffee, Tubbs and the rest of the team, the coffee of motorsport. Thank you for keeping us going in all the long distance races we cover on IMSA Radio and the rest of the Radio Show Limited network of channels. Green flag as we have 15 minutes on the clock. Jeremy, stick a pin in this one. I have no clue who we're going to see at the front of LMP2 or indeed DPI. What do you reckon?
Yeah, very, very good point. I think in LMP2 we'd like to see the usual suspects fighting it out there, particularly Ben Keating and Stephen Thomas, who've had some super battles through this season. In DPI, well, Harry Tingle set the fastest time yesterday in practice. In the third session, the night session last night, the conditions weren't conducive to quick lap times. Then started to rain, so even less so. So we didn't really see representative times in the nighttime session. But the fastest time was set yesterday at 109.356 by Harry Tinkle. The qualifying record here was Dane Cameron, a 108.402. That's an average speed, by the way, average speed, 133.66 miles an hour.
Sorry, what was that average speed again, did you say?
Yeah, 133.660. Not hanging about, huh?
And considering, I mean, you're not quite down to first gear at turn 7, but that's a pretty slow corner. That tells you how quick you're going everywhere else. This is a quick track, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it really is. Particularly these cars here, they do create quite a bit of downforce, and they are, yeah, the performance of these cars is really good. And there's a great onboard shot there from the number 10 car, heading downhill through the S's now and heading up to turn 5. That sun is just about set over the horizon there at turn 5, but it was a little bit of a factor certainly at turn 2. And I think as we see him turn right through 6 and into 7, the sun will be directly, almost, well, not quite in his eyes. It's just gone down far enough, I think, not to be as much of a problem as I perhaps anticipated. We're by about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's gone down behind the tree. The tree cover there has really matured since I first came here in 1998. Beautiful parkland setting, if you will, of Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Really lovely place to come and watch motor racing, and now that things have opened up and it's easier to get to the US from particularly the UK and the rest of Europe, start planning your trip for next year. This is a one that you have to have on your bucket list. Great part of the world. Hospitality around here is legendary. Plenty of hotels within a reasonable drive. Some great food options as well. And if you want to make a holiday out of it, normally in October, great time of the year to come, head up into the Carolinas, or plenty to see and do around the Atlanta area as well. Put yourself a Porsche experience down by the airport. Got a really good Porsche experience down there. Porsche headquarters in North America. So let's wait to see some times come in. The dancing ants, as our colleague from NBC, Brian Till, always calls them. That's what he calls the track. Ensure that most of the cars have got some room on the track. Maybe we put the 0-1. Oh yes, that'll be Kevin Magnussen. Kmag, who is gearing up for his move to Peugeot and their hypercar programme for next year. He'll be very, very busy working on that. Sad to see him go. He's really taken to this form of racing like a duck to water, Jeremy. when we talked to him and his dad at Midweek Motorsport a while ago, and I was meeting the Magnussen's feature, and they were doing some overnight testing at Navarra for Le Mans. He was saying it was a real help for him to have grown up around this paddock.
Says Ben Keating.
Ben Keating has picked up one of the Haggerty Motorsport signs, but has deposited it at the side of the track.
Yeah,
interesting.
And Kmag is his final IMSA race, at least for now, apparently. He had a big spin there, didn't he? At turn 3, going into turn 3 there for Ben Keating. That's unusual. But for Kmag, he's had one pole position this season in his debut year racing here in North America at the Raceway on Belle Isle in Detroit. And this would be a cool place to get a second one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, very, very cool. I'll be sad to see him go, actually. I think he's really brought something. He really hit the ground running at Daytona, and as soon as he got in the car, it was clear to me that he had an absolute understanding of what was expected of him and how the system worked, if you will.
Yeah, I think he really enjoyed the season. I was a little bit surprised to hear that he'd actually signed for Peugeot. Major European manufacturer certainly, and perhaps for the family, going back to Europe is the best option for him, because I'm sure Chip Ganassi would have liked to keep him on, because he's been a good addition to the team. He seems to have got on very, very well with Renger van der Zande, and they've had a fair bit of success. They come into this weekend fourth in the points, but only 3 points behind Oliver Jarvis and Harry Tincknell.
And 2 Chip Ganassi Cadillacs for next year in preparation for the new cars in 2023. Already announced that Cadillac will be running a parallel program to IMSA with that new set of regulations in 2023. So there is a chance to go to Le Mans as well and potentially win Le Mans outright. That's what the LMDH, the IMSA prototype manufacturers want to do, whether it's Audi or Porsche, BMW. Well, they say not, but I have a strong suspicion the car is anywhere near competitive, and it's being built, the chassis is being built by Dallara, as is the Cadillac, funny enough. They're going to be sharing a chassis. I think BMW back in Europe will be twisting the arm of the organisation to say, yeah, I think we want to go to Le Mans, don't we?
It's tight here at the moment, John. Felipe Nasser, quickest out of the box here, 108.816, so just 0.4 of a second away from Dane Cameron's lap record. Dane himself for 118.9. 119.0 for Harry Tincknell in the Mazda. So Cadillac, Acura, Mazda, the top 3 covered by less than 0.2 of a second, with still plenty of time remaining in this session.
Yeah, only halfway through the session, Jeremy. You spot on. Kamui Kobayashi having the typical top of the hill turn 2, exactly as we saw earlier on in the P3 session. Too much curb at turn 2, and as soon as you do that, even in a relatively softly sprung GT car or a TCR or even a Mazda MX-5, it unsettles the car and you're fighting it there. If you're lucky, you're going fast enough to go straight on, as Kamui did there, and take to the grass. If you are unlucky, or perhaps you're getting slightly further around the corner, it pitches you off to driver's right, where there's no runoff at all, and you're into the tyres. Now, possibility of some contact out there between the Mazda and the number 31 Whelen car as they were going into turn 7. Get a chance to check that out. They were close, but I don't think so. Just trying to find a bit of space for Harry Tincknell, who did take the top spot in one of the free practice sessions, Jeremy, so he knows there's some pace in that little 2-litre 4-cylinder car.
He's shown it, because he's just gone to the top, a 108.747 for the Englishman in that number 55 Mazda. So he's now, 0.069 ahead of Felipe Nasser. And Dane Cameron remains in third position, just almost exactly 0.1 of a second behind.
No the wonder Kmag Kobayashi went now for turn 2. You can see nothing at all as you come over the rise. That is where, as you suggested, Jeremy, it will be difficult for the drivers to see at this time. And that is the place where you really need to be nailed on, inch perfect as well. Tincknell down the inside of one of the P2 cars, down into turn 10. Was it Ben? All right, so that's the provisional pole sitter. Actually, all I need to do is look at the tracker.
Like some purple on the side of that car, was it? Or was it not? Maybe it was I beg your pardon, I think it was the United Orders.
It was indeed Jim Maguire, exactly, so it was the 22.
We'll be celebrating his birthday tomorrow, will Jim Maguire?
And the number on the side of the car reflects his birthday perfectly. He's 22, isn't he?
I think it does.
Yes.
Absolutely right.
Maybe a multiplier involved in that, but well, it's good to have Jim back. Real good supporter of sports car racing. Great.
Yeah, and not only that, he is aero sustainable paint.
Yes.
That is his business, and I have to shout out as a very gracious sponsor of the Team USA Scholarship Program, which has helped a lot of young American drivers over the years, and Jim stepped up a few years ago and has become a major supporter of it. So thanks, Jim, for giving something back to the youngsters trying to make a name for themselves in this country.
And what a visit to the UK it was for this year's scholarship recipients, Andre Castro and Max Esterton, with podium finishes at the 50th Formula Ford Festival, second and third, Max second and Andre third, and then Max winning the very prestigious and very difficult to win Walter Hayes Trophy last weekend at Silverstone, beating some very experienced drivers. I know he's had a season in British Formula Ford, Jeremy, but you must be delighted, and the rest of the connections of Team USA must be delighted at the boys this year in the UK. Great performance.
Yeah, it really was. That's the fourth win for Team USA Scholarship drivers at the Walter Hayes Trophy. Connor Di Filippi in this race is another one, and also Tristan Nunez is in this race. Yes. He won for Team USA as well at the Walter Hayes Trophy. But we've got a new fast this time. It's Felipe Nasr back to the front in car number 31. He leads now by 0.069 over Harry Tincknell. Sebastian Bourdais jumps up into third position, almost exactly 1/10 of a second behind Felipe Nasr. So it's Cadillac, Mazda, Cadillac, the best of the Acuras. Dane Cameron, I think, now is in the pits in what is now the fourth place, car number 60 for Meyershank Racing. The championship leader, Philippe Albuquerque, car number 10, way down in 7th and last in the DPI ranks at the moment. A full 0.7 off the fastest time.
Yeah, and remember there are points on this session as well. This is again a combined points and position setting session, so this is grid and the extra points for qualifying in one session here. 2.5 minutes to go. 0-1. Kevin Magnussen still pushing on. Great to see these Michelin customer tyres giving good longevity and great performance. This is, in some ways, Jeremy, a proper old-fashioned, if you will, qualifying session. 15 minutes, a lot shorter than the old days when sometimes it was an hour, but they're burning off fuel as the cars get lighter. There's still enough performance potential in the Michelin tyres to allow them to improve their times. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? And those championship points you were talking about could be significant. Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque in that number 10, Konica Minolta, Wayne Taylor Racing Acura. They lead by just 19 points over Felipe Nasr and Pipo Derani, which in the old money is 1.9 points. But in qualifying right now, it's Nasr fastest. He will score for 35 points. If Philippe Albuquerque cannot improve on the 7th place, that's only 24, so that's an 11-point swing in favour of the second place car. So that would bring them within 8 points of the championship lead going into the Le Mans tomorrow.
Closing up, 1 minute to go. The gaps at the top of the field, 0.015 between first and second, 0.155 for second and third. Go ahead, Jeremy, sorry.
Gosh, yeah, Tincknell improved, just 0.015 in that last last lap, 108.693. It's also close in LMP2. Ben Keating leads Stephen Thomas by just 1/10 of a second.
And he's just improved last time around to a 12.311 Keating, so he stretches out to nearly 3/10 of a second.
Yes, super battle between those two. Dwight Merriman doing a nice job in third position as well.
It's the P2 battle, Jeremy. How are we viewing that this weekend?
In terms of the points?
Yeah.
Well, Ben Keating and Mikkel Jensen in the number 52 car, they've got a pretty handy lead. It's 113 points coming to this final round. So, you know, that's a good lead, but is it an insurmountable lead? I can't figure out these new points. I really can't.
Checkered flag is out. People diving for the pit lane who aren't going to improve. Who's still out there and running? Tinkle improved last time around, and he pits, so he's not going to have another go at it. In fact, the top three are in the pit, so it's only Kevin Magnussen who is still running at the moment. He's done a decent first sector, 2/10 of a second away. See what he can do. No, he's lifted off in the middle sector. And as far as LMP2 is concerned, Keating has improved again. So the last 3 laps of that session, Ben Keating, thank you so much, Texas Ben, because he absolutely proved what I was talking about. As you burn off the fuel, the Michelin tyres still have performance in them, and he's pulled out that lead, which was very close indeed, to 3.5 tenths by doing 3 consecutive fastest laps. That's very impressive by Ben Keating, Jeremy.
Oh, well, it really is, and that's yet another pole position then for Ben Keating. This is his 7th pole position, so that moves him up to tied for 7th on the all-time list since 2014, when the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship effectively began at the conclusion of the ALMS era, and tied then with Richard Westbrook on 7 pole positions.
Whelen Engineering Cadillac run by Action Express pulls out of line, being pointed to the interview point and the pole position area. Ben Keating will follow him down for the LMP2 pole position. Teammates are already there to congratulate Felipe Nasser. Pipo Derani, second of the Brazilians there, and Mike Conway, of course, Le Mans winner this year for Toyota, World Endurance Champion. He's the 3rd driver there. Good to see Mike still coming over to this race. Pipo Derani's almost as pumped for that as Felipe Nasser is. Shea Adam with our VP Racing Fuel pit report for the pole sitter for the 2021 Motul Petit Le Mans. Shea?
Yeah, and I think part of the excitement for these two is they remember what happened a couple years ago. 2019, Felipe Nasser got his first ever pole position, and it was here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Felipe, do you remember what happened in 2019? He's celebrating with the whole team. And right, he should, because this was a very hard-earned pole position. A big hug to Mike Conway as well. He's going to hug all of his guys. Let's see if I can't dive in there a little bit further up. Everyone's so happy for him. Well, Pipo, I'll grab you while he's running away. Oh, Felipe, hey, you remember what happened in 2019 when you got pole position?
Yeah, I do. I want to do the same, but win the championship this time.
Yeah, it was the first race win at Motul Petit Le Mans. You and Pipo Derani, you know how to do this. You know how to start from the beginning, and you drove away in that race. How important is it to have the clean air in front, and more importantly, to have the people you're fighting behind you?
Wow, I mean, what a lap there, sorry. It took me a while to sink on that one, just because, you know, there's so much on the line, and you just want to deliver, you know, and I had a lot of fun. Well, you know, it's a great car to drive, I have to say. The 31 Whelen Engineering was awesome. It was all about getting the tires correctly in the window, bring them up, and just nailing those laps. It was pretty close. I have to say, I know I need to catch a breath, because that was I don't think I have anything left on the car. And I'm so proud, you know, for the team. This is a huge effort for us, big points on the table. And that put us in a very good position for the race. You know, we have a championship on the line, and I'm glad we did one part of it.
I have to ask, is this a little bit more emotional for you, your last time qualifying with the Whelen Engineering crew?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's I don't want to let the emotions run now. You know, it's a long weekend, but I just love this team. You know, it's going to be hard.
We'll talk to you tomorrow night and see how the emotions are then.
Thank you.
Stay with Shea to get Ben Keating, who is out of the car. And Shea Adam doing her best Nick Damon impression there.
No, certainly not.
Well, he made Michael Schumacher cry, so, you know, you nearly got Felipe Nasser there. Ben Keating is our pole sitter in LMP2. Impossible.
Well, Ben, we won't keep you very long. The side of the car, there's a lot of dirt on it. Where did that all come from?
Turn 3. Yeah, it's that simple. I came over the first flying lap, came up over the crest of the hill. The sun is just right in your eyes. I had no idea exactly where to turn in, and I guessed a little bit too early. So I hit the curb at turn 3 too hard, and it launched me right up over into the dirt. But I felt pretty happy with my recovery. I downshifted and got it turned straight and got going again. Hopefully I didn't slow anybody else down, and you know, after a couple more laps, the dirt was cleaned off the track, so good to go.
Well, you said yesterday all you need to do is start the race, not to jinx you. You went out and got pole position. You're the first car in LMP2. It's the best place to be, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And if I did my counting correctly, I think there are 7 DPI cars. So hopefully that means I start a row ahead of the competition, which I'm hoping gives me a little bit of a benefit going into turn 1. And you know, after you get through turn 1, if you can be up front, then you're going to be there until at least you get down to turn 6.
Good luck tomorrow, Ben.
Thank you.
So the pole positions are all set. A fabulous lap by Felipe Nasser. He said he had absolutely nothing left to give. And he steals pole position by 0.015 of a second from the master of Harry Tincknell. As we always say at this time of a Motul Petit Le Mans weekend, just one more race. That's tomorrow. We'll have it live in its entirety, flag to flag. Our Michelin countdown to green before it. For all the details of our broadcast, go to imsaradio.com, and the time zone will auto-convert to where you are. For Jeremy Shaw, Shea Adam, and for the team on site in London and at Charlotte, I'm John Hindhaugh. Thanks for joining us this Fast Friday, Motul Petit Le Mans. Next, tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.